it's really important when we're doing invitationals that we market our events, right? Not only to our own class members, but for the SSA's benefit as well. So really encourage you to create social media posts in advance of the event. If you tag Severn Sailing Association, we can amplify that on our Facebook and our Instagram. You should probably tag your class association, but having some promotional graphics that can be forwarded and then include the contact information of the regatta chair can be super helpful. And, you know, it's just so key in today's visual world is to, you have to have somebody in charge of taking photos. And if it's a, you know, if it's a smaller invitational and you can't afford to hire a photographer, you know, you still need to think of somebody maybe either on the race committee that you can say, hey, can you try and snap a few pictures, or even just at the awards event, you know, make sure somebody's in charge of taking pictures. It's kind of an easy thing to be an afterthought, but it's just so critical in today's world. And again, use our girl Kelly as just a tremendous example of marketing. They've already got their marketing started for the October J24 and J22 East Coast Championship. And there's a lot in this example that I love. It's, you know, so far in advance, you're getting it on people's calendars. You know, they've not only tagged it here, but they've tagged SSA down here, this at Severn Sailing. They've tagged their class association. They've done a couple hashtags. You know, I'm sure, and the benefit of that is, you know, the class association now is going to pick it up and forward it and amplify it. You know, they've clearly at their last regatta, they got some great photos, so they've incorporated all of that. So I just think this is a great example, and we all need to be doing more of that. If you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm not in graphics, I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm not either, but there's a tool called Canva. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a pretty easy tool to learn. There's a lot of functionality free. Kathy at the office has worked with it a little bit. Not that she's going to do it for you, but if you get stuck, she might be able to help you through it. I've used it a lot. It's a very common app these days. So there's a lot of people who are familiar and know how to use it, but it can really up your game in terms of doing kind of very professional looking graphics that then you can post out on Facebook and Instagram. As far as media and photography, you know, it's up to you and what your budget can afford. But if it's a higher end event at all, hiring somebody to do your photography is just really, it's a huge benefit. You know, we've got a lot of great photography and media people within the club. It does not mean they're going to do it for free. You're going to have to pay them, right? So when the Snipe Fleet has done any of our nationals, in the past couple of years, we've hired Ted Morgan to come take pictures. He makes, you know, we pay him a flat fee. It's part of the regatta budget. And those photographs become available to the regatta. And it's just been a huge benefit. You know, JR, you might be able to hire. Ashley Love has the whole media with the, you know, she has a whole level of things. I put Susan Hale on here. She's a, you know, she is an artist, professional photographer. I have no idea whether she would do it. I'm just saying we do have a lot of resources, but you will have to pay them just because they're SSA members. They are not going to do that for free. There are a lot of talented people out there. If you have somebody in your fleet who's willing to volunteer their time, you know, that's fantastic. So just it's really important. It's something that you need to think about. I had Kim Carantz put together. She couldn't join us tonight, but put together some just thoughts on sharing your SSA regattas with the outside world via media. So this is really kind of a after the event, how do you get your regatta published? I don't know if you know that you saw that first photograph there. The Snipe class has been pretty successful in getting nice articles about our event in Spin Sheet and the Capitol. And the key for that is for a standard invitational, you know, you need to do a write-up for them. It should have some of the basic highlights, you know, some handful, you know, the top couple of finishers, total boats, maybe, it's just something special about the regatta. You need to send a few photographs that they can use. So you'll need to get the permission of your photographer and include the photographer's name for the photo credit. But those are kind of the key elements. And then really the day or two after, you need to be really timely in getting that information to Spin Sheet is the obvious one. And we have the, Spin Sheet email contact. And then Bill Wagner will also post some things in the Capitol. And that often actually gets posted out to the Baltimore Sun as well. So, I think that's a great way to publicize not only your fleet, but your, but SSA as well. So, also, if you can get that information to Kathy, if you'll send your write-up to Kathy, she'll include that in the breeze.
Yes.
You would also want to send it to your class association.
Yes.
I mean, it's sort of one of those understood things, but if we don't say it, we may not think about it. And they would want to write up too.
Absolutely. And then, kind of depending where and how, back to that social media thing, hopefully you will have posted something, some very, tiny little social media blurb about, had a great event, here's some photos. But particularly if it gets into any of these media, if it gets in, whether in the breeze or in in the Capitol or in Spin Sheet, then you can also send out that link via social media as well. She did make a little point here towards the end. If you're doing a really big event, a nationals, a North America, a really newsworthy, high-end event, in addition to sending it to Spin Sheet and to the Capitol Gazette, she's suggesting too that you might even want to contact them ahead of time, particularly people like Spin Sheet, who has they have some photographers on staff, like Will, and they do have other photographers on staff. They may actually send a photographer out to cover the event themselves. I've not seen the Capitol Gazette do that, but Spin Sheet may actually do that for you, which can be helpful. And then also, again, a national, international, kind of a national level event, you can send to Scuttlebutt. I think most of us probably all get Scuttlebutt, but that is a national publication that gets very high readership. So, being able to talk to them ahead of time about the event, what they might want to share from the event, and then again, also sending them the post-event write-up. I will tell you, when I've done this for Bill Wagner and Spin Sheet, I may write a slightly different version of my regatta report, one that I kind of think to myself, what's going to make it media worthy versus the kind of longer, detailed, drawn out regatta report I might do for my class association or for the essay. Or like when I'm sending something to the essay, I'm really concentrating on the SSA members who have done well. Whereas if it's, to Scuttlebutt, or if it's to one of these other events, they might want to know something about any, kind of celebrity or the national level people. They don't care about who was the top junior with a hat on or something, so Barbara?
You might also, in the beginning, Scuttlebutt, I believe, has a regatta calendar. A couple of these, I believe Spin Sheet has a regatta calendar. Whoever you want to market it to, see if they have one, and early on, get your name on the calendar. Because then that way, if they're looking for filler, they'll put on there what's on their calendar.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So any questions or comments or thoughts about marketing, any success or any other ideas that you all have? Because the people, at least on this call, I think have done some good job with some of their media.
I just have one comment from the SSA side, that if you send the article to me, you are guaranteed that it will be posted on the website.
Yep.
And you'll have something to share, a link to share on your social media pages.
That's a great point. If you need it, right, if you need that article on a website that you can provide a link to in your social media, absolutely. Kathy's your first go-to then.